Hi, everyone. My name is Dustin Miles with Momentum Multifamily. I'm extremely excited to have my friend Lupe here. Known her and worked with her for a few years. And so, Lupe, if you would introduce yourself and we'll take it from there.
Hi, Dustin. Hey, everybody. Hey, first of all, thank you for having me. I am I my background is military, so I just retired just about a year ago. I used
Hey,
to, yeah,
congrats.
yeah. We read in the retiree club nowadays. Used to juggle my full time military job and real estate, and now I'm doing this full time, and love it.
Awesome. Sounds good. So I guess if you could kind of, where do you live? Where do you grow up? Like, what did kind of, pre-adult Lupe, would that look like for you?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Taiwan. My family moved here when I was 17 years old. So I did my last year high school here in the US. I joined the military, and you guys know the rest for being in the Navy for 23 years and just retired in 2024. Um, but my family is not like a family that did any business or real estate. Both my parents worked. My mom worked in the bank. My dad
Mm.
was in the army. And I kind of came across this by accident.
Oh, wow. Okay. Did you hear about real estate or multifamily like on a podcast or go to a conference or a meetup, or what that process look like for you?
No, no, none of that. This
Oh, okay.
uh, I know, purely accident. What happened was about when I first joined the military, I was stationed in California.
Hmm.
So I bought a house when I was stationed there, right? And then
Oh.
I moved on, got transferred a few times. When I moved from the house, it became a rental, and I actually rented to a person I know.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
it wasn't really like a really formal process, right? This is just a
Hmm.
friend I know who want to rent, and we decide on the price that's worth for him. It's gonna be enough for me to pay the mortgage, and I was happy.
Yeah, there you go.
He was there for almost 10 years, living in the house, and he
Wow.
took good care of the house. I never had
Wow.
to worry about anything, so I didn't even really learn how to be a landlord, right?
Yeah, had some.
But
Wow.
it was about 9 years later. I was stationed overseas at the time. I was getting ready to move back to the States, and I was going to Washington, D.C.
Hmm.
And at that point, it was just time to sell the house because I really didn't think I was going to go back to California. Um, and I also got married at that time, and we wanted to buy a home here, right, in DC, Maryland.
Hmm.
So yeah, sold that house and ended up with bunch of cash, right? Because of there's also the rule where when you're in the military, you have up to 10 years to sell, and the transaction is considered a sale of primary residence, right?
Oh,
So you
gotcha.
don't pay any tax
Yeah.
on the gain, right? So that's how I ended up with like a few $100,000, and just trying to figure out what do I do with this money.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up with my first rental portfolio and in real estate.
Wow. Well, that's neat. Yeah, that's super cool. And so, and I think a lot of people start out in single family just, from either, you bought a house and you're like, well, it's not a great time to sell and I don't need to go sell it, so I'll just rent it out and I'll go buy a new house. But how did you kind of get introduced to multifamily?
Yeah, so like I said, I bought. um, so I bought like six different properties over time,
Oh, okay.
in about
Yeah.
2 years, right? And they are really small, old, nothing fancy,
Yeah.
really like a C class, neighborhood.
Hmm.
But through that process, I met a lot of people, right? Starting to really get in the real estate space, talking to people, start going to meetups, start, having to deal with some tenant issues, property management issues, start, hearing about multifamily. So I actually, my very first multifamily project was an 18 unit in Miami, and it was a joint venture structure. It was me and I think four other people. We just bought this 18 unit
Oh, wow.
and figure it out. Really, yeah.
Good. Good. Is that something you still own today?
No, we had that building. So actually two buildings.
Hmm.
For about 2.5 years. We sold it. Um, you know, we did we did okay with it, considering everybody was new and kind of like really learning along the way. Nothing major bad happened,
Yeah.
made some
Well, that's
money,
good.
so it was
Yeah.
good. It was a good experience and my first taste of multifamily.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I remember when I was kind of getting started in both, I did this in single family and then I also did this in multifamily. I was I wasn't trying to hit a grand slam or hit a home run. I was like, if I can make some money and like, and have, kind of a, succeed or success kind of on the board. That's all I was looking for, a single or double. That's all I was looking for. And, been nice to get, I'm good with home runs too, but I just wanted to have some success because then once you have that success, then you're like, okay, this works. And then you have momentum, no pun intended there. But you have momentum behind you, and then you can kind of, keep moving and keep kind of, actually build a portfolio from there. So awesome. And then, so you did a JV, and then kind of what did your journey look like after that?
Yeah, so really, that deal opened door for me to multifamily, right? Because now I call myself, okay, I'm a multifamily investor. I'm in
Yeah.
this space, right? I'm able to really kind of like learn the business. Um, and of course, through that, I met more people and people doing really big projects like yourself, Dustin. But really like sometimes your project may not be a huge success, but I think the connection and the network, it creates,
Hmm.
it's really the I guess it opens more doors to bigger things down the road, right? So for from that perspective, it was a success because I met so many people, investors, just even like lenders and people in the space doing the multifamily.
And there's nothing like, you can read books and you can listen to podcasts, but there's nothing like putting your own, hard-earned money, on the line. That's when it's when you really start learning.
You
So,
gotta pull that trigger.
yeah, yeah. Well, good for you. And then I guess kind of, when, I know you guys, I don't know all the details, but I know you've looked at buying some deals kind of locally where you are now, and then, you've also, you've, raised capital and other things like that. What did that, I don't know if you did on your JV, or if that was mainly just your own funds, but whenever you, I guess, kind of look to raise equity for your first deal, what did that look like? And I remember when I first started, it was kind of nerve-wracking, honestly, like asking people, it's not like, you're not asking for 50 bucks or even $500, like
Oh
it's
yeah.
$50,000 plus. And so, I mean, it's a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah.
I made less than that my first job out of college. So, anyways, but yeah, I would love to learn how you kind of got a little bit of traction there and what that looked like for you.
Dustin, you kind of touched on it. I think like doing it, like I think being hands-on is so
Mm.
important, right? Because I don't think anybody is gonna put their money, hard-earned money, into something you're trying to share with them when you don't do it yourself, right? That's
Hmm.
like my
Hmm.
first, so I have done, I did a few smaller JV deals in multifamily. I invested initially, right, as limited partner.
Hmm.
I feel like I have done quite a bit before I started going to the capital raising space, and the reason why it's because the people in my circle, like family and friends, start asking about it. Okay, what are you doing? Like, how can
Hmm.
how can I participate? So people start asking questions, and really, it's kind of like, okay, I can try to bring some people in, right? But I really do think, having the experience, personal experience in the space is important. And also be willing to, you know, put your money into whatever deal you're promoting.
Yeah, yeah. I like I don't know if it was Warren Buffett who said that, but basically, you eat your own cooking. So,
Mhm.
so I've always kind of, yeah, liked
Absolutely.
that saying. So, you raised equity kind of for your first deal or first few deals, and I guess what are you doing to kind of I guess build on that success and kind of cultivate your community and are you guys, do you have a set avatar? Are you guys are you going after military,
Yeah.
kind of, your background and all that, or what does kind of your typical investor look like?
Yeah, so I really started out with like just my circle, right? Like my friends and people I
Mhm.
know. And a lot of them are military, right? Just because
Mhm.
that's kind of like where I worked
Yeah,
in the last
yeah,
20
yeah,
years, right? I
yeah.
have some family members. I have some um, people that I met through networking, but really, most of my investors are a lot of them are affiliated with the military or some type of government, positions. And I will say that that group of people, they have steady jobs, they have really nice retirement plan, right? Typically,
Mhm.
and then um, a lot of times people are looking for different ways to invest because they have done their 401k or TSP, they have their IRA, and they want to diversify into something else. And then they also want to find ways to kind of help with their tax situation, because real estate does give you that depreciation, which is, not usually, available in other investments.
Yep.
So it's just a good fit. And they benefit from, some of the perks of investing in real estate. And also, like my military friends, a lot of them have rentals, like we were talking about, right? You are stationed somewhere, you buy a house, you live there, and you moved on. So like investing in multifamily help to offset the tax on that rental
Mhm.
income, right? So, or when you sell a rental, and it helps to offset that gain as well. So yeah, for those reasons, you know, people people do like the investment. It's a good balance for their portfolio.
Awesome. That's great. And then I guess I know you're partnered up with Tiffany. What is that? How do you guys? I'm sure because there's plenty of overlap between me and Hayden and all that. But do you guys have kind of specific roles that you guys both kind of go after, or is still trying to define where that what those roles look like, or just curious about the partnership.
Yeah, so I met Tiffany, I think almost 5 years ago now, and
Oh
we
wow.
actually started out as we used to co-lead this women's real estate meetup in DC.
Hmm.
So we did that, and which was really good, right? Because I really got to know her, during that time
Yeah.
before we signed the marriage certificate, right? Like becoming partners.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've worked on organizing events, hosting meetups for a couple years before I guess the opportunity came around to do our first deal together. And obviously we are partners. We have the business structure now, but the way we divide up things is that Tiffany, her background being a IT, in the IT space, so she does a lot of the back end stuff. She does our marketing. She manages our back end, like our CRMs, websites, emails, all that stuff. Um, I am more on the investor relations and
Okay.
um, acquisition. So that's kind of like how we divide up the roles.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. That's cool. I didn't realize, I guess I forgot about that. I forgot that you guys ran a group in DC. So that's super cool. That's the way Hayden and I kind of, similarly, we had a meetup and we were doing that for a while, and you get to learn how people work, and so and then we did at least I thought it was a pretty large charity event, and charity events are really hard. And anyways, so we did that, and and then you're really kind of under pressure, and because you want to perform, and being able to hopefully a lot of people contribute money to this
Yeah.
nonprofit, and so there's a lot of I don't know, maybe it was self-induced pressure, but there was a lot we felt definitely pressure and all that, and we wanted to do well, and anyways, it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time, but in the process you learned like, okay, this is how this person operates, and like when the going
Mhm.
gets tough, like they don't hey, how can we make this work? Like, how do we, what's the solution here, as opposed to, running off or pointing fingers or anything like that. So that's awesome. I didn't, I guess I kind of forgot that about you guys. So what does, I guess, what does the future look like for you guys? Was, maybe 2026 or kind of the next few years? How do you see, things shaping up for y'all's company?
Yeah, we definitely as you know, that's then like things been pretty slow in the last couple of years just because the market
Mhm.
condition in general. And I think it's been like for us, it's been the last couple of years, it's been tough, in terms of like finding deals and really
Mhm.
find good project. So we continue working on acquisition. We have really um I guess start thinking creatively in terms of networking, right?
Mm.
I think everybody started like in multifamily events, but really like nowadays we are doing like I do a lot of local networking with
Mm.
chamber of commerce, brokers,
Oh,
local
cool.
meetups. So is Tiffany, we're both like joined the chamber and really like started to get to know the business people, the
Yeah.
players in our market, and really that opens up the networking as well, and opportunities. Um, Continue looking for building relationship with the brokers,
Hmm.
as well as operators. We do raise for other operators as well when there are good deals, but we also learn over time, right, to really tighten up our criteria in terms of like the type of deal that we are willing to bring our investors, right?
Yeah.
Because they have to perform and our investors have to, you know, they have to get return for their money because they put so much trust in
Hmm.
us, right? Any deal we presented.
Yeah.
So that's important. So continue doing the groundwork, position ourselves for 2026. Yeah, that's what
Awesome.
we're doing. Yep.
Awesome. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, learn more about you guys and your company, website, LinkedIn, or whatever? Yeah, works best for you.
Yeah, we are Nexvia Capital. You can find me on LinkedIn, find Tiffany on LinkedIn, IG. Lupe Chow and Tiffany Span, we love to meet you and connect and, create opportunities together.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate your time. Everyone, please reach out to Lupe and Tiffany. Super, super nice folks. Especially if you're in the Huntsville, Alabama area or DC. Great folks to connect with. They're getting after it. So, appreciate your time today. And yeah, we'll talk soon, Lupe. Thank you.
Thank you,
See
Dustin.
ya.
See ya.
Bye.